Welcome back to the Center for Off-Road Research and Shenanigans. And tonight we're going to do a little bit of research. And this is the current stack of quarters that I have for articulation on this rig. And it's the E1, and you'll notice that all wheels are touching. They're turning as I move this back and forth. And I'll have to count how many quarters that is. I think it's 55. My previous record with the test mule was 51. So if you want to pause that and count them yourself, you're welcome to do so. But I'm going to lay them all out and see how many that is. I believe it's 55, but I'll check. Well, that's confirmed. It is 55 quarters. I've laid them out, and we got 2 rows of 5 by 5 rows, and then 5 more, and that is exactly the number I had in the bag, so I was pretty sure of that number, and sure enough, that was the actual number that it could flex. So that's 4 better than it was on the test mule. And we'll do a little bit of testing tonight against the deadbolt C10 and my 4-wheel steering rig, maybe, if I get some time, but we'll do the deadbolt in this. The deadbolt has Patagonia's smaller tires, and I think one of these two will surprise you. And one more thing I've changed on this that I haven't talked about yet is this area right here that is on the bottom. I sort of filed that up a little bit more, and that way I get more of a full compression travel on it than I had before, because it was physically hitting the upper the upper suspension link. So I raised that up just by filing that out. I used a Dremel and then a nail file right through here and open that up a little bit. I've also filled my shocks there with tungsten putty. It's hard. It probably added about, or not hard, but it's heavy. It's thicker than silly putty, and it doesn't move. It's kind of like clay, but it's real heavy clay. And I probably added maybe 2 or 3 grams a side by doing that. Hopefully it's that much. I don't know. Maybe it's less. But everything helps when it's weight down low. So I have a metal brass stiff cover coming from the back, and the front C-hubs are no longer going to be plastic in about a week when those arrive. But this thing needs more weight. I know that right now. And there's my heat sink that I've added to the side of the motor. I had to cut that out. I'll file that down just a little bit, make it a little bit prettier. And I chopped the bottom of that panel off too, so that I can slide it up past the heat sink when I need to. So it's removable still, but that needed to happen because I'm not going to run a motor without one. They just last a lot longer when you have it. So it's time to take this over to the rock course and see how it does. And we'll just start the competition off with a little bit of light rock crawling here. This is my deadbolt. I love this truck. It's probably my favorite one. It's my PN70 build, and I really enjoy driving it. It does a nice job. And I do know that from driving this E1 last night, even with the larger tires, it does not like to climb very well. Anytime you get it steep, it kind of doesn't do well. This is where the narrower track of the deadbolt does real well. As you can see, it is on a shelf here, and it's very maneuverable. Did that with no problem. Now we're going to find out that the wider track and lighter rig may not do as well here. I can do it sometimes, but this is a wheel speed maneuver here because it just cannot crawl. It also doesn't have a good CG. It's kind of aft. If you're going to build one of these, I would recommend the deadbolt rear suspension. I mean, even if you want to keep the C10 front suspension, I'm sure that'd be fine, but might even be better. You're going to give up some turn radius if you have a longer wheelbase, though. This is something that the deadbolt had no trouble doing. There we go. It's just not as sure-footed either. Part of that could be the tires. I don't know if Scramblers are as sticky as Patagonia's. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I know I do really like Patagonia's. I think they're the best small tire you can put on one of these. And for me, a small tire is everything below a Scrambler. I think the Scrambler is what I consider a big tire, and the other big tire is the Mudslinger, which is fantastic, but they're hard to get a hold of right now. So I have one set on my four-wheel steer car. Maybe I'll run that through at the end here just for fun. It's got a longer wheelbase, and climbs like this are no problem for it. Goodness, I've not had this much trouble with it before. But you can see that just because you have a lot of articulation and a wider track doesn't necessarily make it better. I might kill a whole battery just trying to get this up on top of the rock. There we go. Well, if it falls off from there, I'm just going to pick it up and restart it from that spot. I'll just keep restarting it from the place on the element where it failed. And I'm not going to do it over and over and over, but we'll try it a few times. Now this here, I have to be kind of careful because I've got a diminishing area here. As this cuts in, I've got to have the wheel run that line, because if it goes in the gap, it's going to flip over every time. So I'll take the deadbolt just ahead a little bit more, just to get it out of the way. And I know from running this a few times, I've got to be real careful here. Made it look easy that time. I've had a hard time with that spot over and over and over. And move the camera again. I honestly expected to have more trouble with it than I did there. Pull the deadbolt ahead again. This is the part where the E1 does really well. Anytime there's rough terrain where it doesn't actually have to try to climb anything on a steep incline, it does fantastic. Okay, sorry about the camera noise there. Nothing could be helped from that. I'll stop the frame and move the camera next time I move it. This is the part for the deadbolt where it struggles a little bit. It does not have the big tires of the others, and sometimes it gets hung up. All right. The E1 should go right over top of that rock that I couldn't make it over with the deadbolt. Kind of got my deadbolt in a bad position. Didn't mean to, but it's part of the small tire game. You sometimes gotta readjust. There we go. I'm risking a tip here. I've got it leaning pretty far. And I'll be able to just drive this one out from here. Alright, now for the E1's turn. Kind of got it in a bad place there. I'll restart it back here. See if I can't take a better line this time. Part of the problem with this truck is it is so flexible. Sometimes it bends over and twists sideways when it really shouldn't. See, there's nothing I could do. I've lost this one again. So, are you starting to see that sometimes extra articulation is not a good thing? It's so flexible that it just bends itself in half with its own torque. That's about as flexed out as you can get it right there. But we started playing the same game that we did with the deadbolt, where it wanted to turn backwards. One thing about this wide track that's pretty nice is it will side hill really well, so long as it's not torquing. It side hills better to the left than the right. I'm sorry, yeah. I'm gonna lose this one too. Oh, I got it back. And we drove that one out. Just for fun, we'll do a couple of climbs. I've done a lot of work on this deadbolt to get it to be able to do what it does, and there's a reason it's my favorite truck. Alright, E1, same climb. You'll notice it doesn't flex, it doesn't articulate when it's trying to climb on the right front. That torque from the drive shaft tends to keep it from flexing. Now if it was a left hand side, it would go right up. See, if you're building an E1, definitely do deadbolt reelings. It'll take advantage of the weight of the front servo. The farther out you get it, the better your forward CG will be, and that will definitely help this thing on climbs. I don't recommend a deadbolt front suspension on this because it'll get into the grill. It just doesn't have the... So I can go up this side. As long as I stay on the white rock, it'll go up it. But the second I put a wheel on the dark rock on the right, it can't do it. I think this would even benefit from some chassis weights along the sides right here. Those are available. I've seen them on eBay. But the center of this truck needs to be heavier. I think that would help keep it down a little bit and would make it better. Let's see if I can't power it up. Nope. It just doesn't have the CG for it. If I can get that right front wheel to hook over the top with the deadbolt, it can go up it. I think the E1 being so flexy and with the big tires, it just has too much torque twist. The second you power it, the chassis leans left, I'm sorry, the chassis leans right, and it takes that left front off the ground, and once it's no longer touching rock, it just falls over. Can't do anything about it. Well, I can go up this rock all day long, but the second I put a wheel on the brown rock, it doesn't like it. Let's run the course in the opposite direction just to see what happens. This time I'm going to go one at a time so that I don't have to pause between runs. Just dropped it off the edge. Quick reset. Try that again. Maybe I'll try the other way around. This is kind of a tricky one because it's right on the edge of nothing. It's probably going to drop off the earth here. Amazing. There it goes. When they made the Deadbolt, they built a really good car. This thing is just super good. That front bias wheel, the front bias CG really does a nice job. And I think I'm going to try to run the low line here that I tried with the other one. Close to going over, but it didn't. I have to be real careful here because if I put my wheel in that hole, there's a very good chance that it's going to go over. Saved it. Get it back up there for another run. And there, I dumped it. I'll do one reset here. Here's my dog behind the door, begging to get down here. Sorry about that. Dogs sometimes don't like RC cars. I think she's learning to leave this one alone though. Not really a threat. This is actually the hardest part of the course. For some reason, it is really tough, and it's tough on all of them. I've got basically a wall here and not much of a ledge. And I didn't expect it to be that hard when I built it, but it turns out to be. So that's the deadbolt. It can do it, but just didn't this time. I'll do one run with the four-wheel steer car just for the fun of it. This is the first pass for this truck on the newly designed course. I have no idea how it's going to do. I anticipate it to do real well though. This is my truck that I hand built. I didn't buy it. I hand selected parts and put them together. Hanging up on the rear axle. There we go. You know, I say my deadbolt's my favorite, and then I drive this one, and it's just so good. And I know why people were spending $155 on Mudslinger tires, because they are great. They're so soft. It's just, they're excellent. This car has the deadbolt rear suspension and C10 front. And it's just making this look easy. Four-wheel steering is a game changer when it comes to rock crawling. I might have to try this one a few different ways. I'm not sure which way is going to work best on this. Let me think about this. I don't want to go that far with it. All right, made it look easy. First attempt on this course, and had no problem whatsoever. I'll try it in the other direction. I'm going to pause this video and reset and try it again. Alright, we'll try the opposite direction. And this is a pretty challenging part, just due to the fact that it's narrow and it's on a lean. And you have to trust yourself to keep the wheels cranked to the left for this, even though that seems wrong. There we go. Haven't had to put the four-wheel steering on this run yet. Might here. Gave it a little kick. Now here's a place where four-wheel steering is great. This is a problem because once you get a tire wedged against a rock like that left one, regular car has a hard time getting out of it. A little bit of four-wheel steer. You can. And you can do it without binding up the drivetrain. Kind of got myself in a little trouble here. Got a hard lean going on, and it's in an area where it really wants to dump the truck over. Once I can get it over this last bit, I'm home free if I can pull it off. I got it up there. Don't know if that's where I want it, but it's going to be real easy to tip it over here. And made it. It's home free from here. Maybe. Maybe not. And I dumped it on the last rock. Something that should have been a drive-through. And there you go. Well, I think I've proven tonight that wide wheelbase and lots of articulation isn't necessarily the best thing. It's good. It's good for some things. Other things it's not quite as good for. Small tire deadbolt does really well. I didn't do my C10 buggy tonight, but it's already a long enough video and didn't really have that much information in it. But just a fun video tonight, fun run, and just something new. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll mess around with this course for a while and probably get sick of it and adjust it somehow and use something else. But as soon as I can come up with something else that's interesting or new or innovative, I'll let you all know. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Have a great week. We'll see you on the trail.